All right, it is 7:03. We are calling to order the public hearing. Are we starting with our regular stuff? According to this?
No.
Oh.
There's a separate agenda, so we can start with the pledge of allegiance and roll call.
That's what I thought. Okay, so we're calling to order our public hearing for CU-01-2025.
Perfect. You want to do a roll call?
Oh, hold on, she was grabbing some of the agendas.
Oh, okay, because I was like, I don't have that. I have that. It does say moment of silence and pledge of allegiance before this. We do that twice.
No, we don't, we were not doing one, we're just.
Okay.
We don't have. We can just.
Okay, let's just go into roll call.
Ms. Demi,
Here.
Ms. Haltz,
Here.
Mr. Panza,
Here.
Mr. Ray,
Here.
Ms. Schwartz,
Here.
Mr. Tintori,
Present.
Ms. Barron,
Here.
Mayor Schenk.
Present.
Yeah, from here, Mr. Leland will take over for the public hearing.
Perfect. Good evening, everyone. This is a public hearing for a conditional use application submitted by PWC Pitt LLC in the county of Allegheny. The property at issue is 875 Green Tree Road, Pittsburgh, PA 15220. That is located in the OC Office Commercial Zoning District. The property at issue tonight is a commercial property which will be occupied by the Allegheny County Department of Human Services. I will note that a majority of the space will be used for office space, which is a use permitted by right. However, a small portion will be used for supervised family visits. The Borough zoning officer, Christopher House, has determined that this portion of the property that will be used for those family visits will require conditional use approval pursuant to section 420-7 of the zoning ordinance, because the proposed use is neither permitted nor prohibited under the zoning ordinance. Before we begin, I would note to council that a conditional use is a use that is permitted under the zoning ordinance, so long as the applicant demonstrates compliance with the criteria set forth in said zoning ordinance. Specifically, section 420-7 provides that a conditional use application must be granted if the applicant demonstrates compliance with the following criteria. Number one, the proposed use is similar to and compatible with the other uses permitted in the zoning district where the subject property is located. Number two, the proposed use is not permitted in any other zoning district. And number three, the proposed use is not in conflict with the general purpose of the zoning ordinance. I would also note that section 420-171 of the zoning ordinance grants Borough Council the authority to impose additional reasonable conditions on the applicant. And of note, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this conditional use application, subject to one additional condition, that the applicants obtain borough approval prior to any future expansion of the portion of the property to be used for the supervised office visit space. With that being said, I am aware that Mr. Gallagher from Buchanan Ingersoll Bruni is here to present on behalf of the applicant. So at this time, I will gladly turn it over to him.
Thank you, Mr. Leyland. Sean Gallagher with Buchanan Ingersoll, and I represent the county and a property owner. As was just described, this is the retrofitting internally of Parkway Center 9. The county has leased the entire office building, which is vacant, to house children, CYF division of Department of Human Services office here. There's 80 employees that are looking to use the entire office. We believe that this is overall an office use which is permitted, but as was just described, there is an issue with 3 offices in particular that are going to be used for supervised visits. As a matter of housekeeping, I'd like to have our application and those materials, entered into the record as exhibit 1. And, exhibit 2 is just an excerpt from our plans, which is the first floor, and I have this blown up as well. I can't see it very well from here, but I do have handouts, and I'd ask that this be part of this exhibit 2.
Does anyone have any objections to that? So amended.
Wow, it's perfect. So, and I'll just, for everyone's reference, I'll be referring to as soon as you come in, we're going to be looking at these 3 offices. Which one? Call my first witness. You please identify yourself for the record.
I'm Betsy Carroll. I'm an assistant director for children and families.
Okay. And what is your responsibility?
So I oversee we have 6 regional offices all over Pittsburgh, and this is one of our regional offices. So I oversee the operations and practice in those offices.
Okay, and can you describe the 3 offices that are?
Yeah, so those are for our family visitation. We do a lot of work on reunification, and children are removed. A lot of our children and families have visitation in the community. However, there are times where we need to have visits in our offices to make sure that everything is going well and safe. And that's why we only have 3. We used to have a lot of offices, and now we've reduced it to about 3. Families come in and visit with their children that they're seeking reunification with. Sometimes the visits are from 8 to 8 every day because, children work, children go to school, parents go to work, so that's why we have longer hours. And, they come and visit with their children. There's a person supervising. There's also, we have a security guard, and recently we have, like an alarm in case there's an issue. We have not really fully implemented that, but we are wanting to make sure that our children are people supervising as well as the parents are safe.
And is this, the use of these 3 offices? I mean, this is a critical, feature of what you do.
Correct, because courts will order, visitation with their parents, and we want to make sure that they're in the best possible situation.
Okay. And without these offices, without the use of these offices, you wouldn't be able, there'd be no use for the rest of the building.
I mean, this is a critical function of our offices. We have, like I said, we have 5 other offices, and that's how we utilize that.
Okay, and if we just walk up, I mean, wanna come up here with me? So can you just point out, how people are gonna come in?
This is the exterior door, and then this is the area they come through security. Then there's visitation rooms, and they are not able to get into any other parts of the area. We want to make sure that our client area is, just in this really secure space.
It's just gonna be these 3
Correct.
offices. Okay.
They can't, like I said, there's locks to get, like, you have to have a badge to get to any other spaces.
So how did you provide, transportation for the parents, or the parents come up?
It depends. Some get Uber cards, some get bus passes, some have their own transportation. A lot of times the children are transported by the foster care agency.
So the foster children, or the children are in one of these offices?
Yes.
And then,
There's a waiting room, and then, yep,
and there's always gonna be security here,
yep,
and somebody else, the office with that.
correct.
Can you, go to the either end of the table and make sure they see that too?
Yes,
And this is our waiting area,
yes,
reception.
yes.
We have a boutique that's like a thrift store, and then
Yeah.
3 visitation rooms.
There you go.
How many floors does the building have?
The building's 2
Sort of waiting.
floors,
And then
We're
three
using the
rooms.
entire office
And it's
building
locked,
for
so
only
we have
both
spaces.
spaces.
This is the only area they can be in.
Employees, but only these three
They're
offices.
bonded.
Less than 5%
Yes.
building, if that.
If that. You had mentioned, Betsy, that you have, was it 6 other offices?
There's 5 other regional offices.
Okay. In this area, in this office is proposed to address families.
Correct, yeah, each of the offices have a catchment area where the families are from. We did a lot of, people way smarter than me did a lot of data on where our families are coming. And Green Tree because the central area, that seemed like a central area for people to be able to to go to. Our other offices are on the north side, the south side, and Hills, north for sales. Yeah, there's 2 panels.
And when you moved into these offices, have those municipalities just treated the office as an office for all?
Yes.
Have you ever had the visitation area different? Okay. I don't think I have any more questions for you right now, unless the Borough Council has any specific questions.
Could you just spell your last name, please?
Yes, Baroff.
You mentioned that there's a security officer on site at all times, not at all times, but during operating hours.
Yes, to get into the building, they're wanded, they're signed in, they sit in the reception, yeah.
And that security officer is from a private security firm, or is that a county? employee?
Yeah, it's contracted.
Yeah, and then if there's a security issue beyond the means of the security officer, do you contact county police or do you contact 911?
But let me ask you, you don't normally have any issues whatsoever.
I mean, it's very rare, people are coming to visit their children, they're often on their best behavior because their children meet their families, but sometimes things do happen. But we've been able to really handle those things and it's been very, very rare in all of our spaces.
Can you quantify sometimes a rare, like once a year, once every 5 years?
I would probably say maybe once a quarter out of all of them.
Yeah.
Out of all quarters.
Yeah.
And is that usually a dispute between the parent and office staff, or is it more of a family dispute? Well, trying to understand what would cause a concern.
Well, I think the most recent one I can think of is because they didn't want to be wanted.
Okay.
So it's either you get wanted
Okay. Thank you.
So if this was a law firm, you could bring in clients. If it was a trading company, you could bring in clients, and your clients are the parents and the kids. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gallagher, if you have no further testimony, we can turn it over to public comment or.
Yeah, no, that's it, but I would just note as, you mentioned the standards that apply to a use that's undefined in the ordinance. The critical standard is whether or not it's, of the same kind of, it's compatible with other permitted uses in the district, and as we noted in our application and the narrative, well, the business office use is a permitted use, which we think we are, and therefore we feel compatible with that use, but other permitted uses in the zoning district, which we think are of similar nature, are a clinic use, which is an establishment that provides human patient care services, including but not limited to medical, dental, psychological, and or social services on an outpatient basis. And also a daycare center child use. So we believe that we're consistent with those uses, therefore meet the standards. So I should respectfully would ask for the approval.
I have one more. At the planning commission meeting, towards the end of the meeting, it was asked if in the future, if there were any improvements made to the exterior of the building, whether it's playground or some sort of improvement to the outside, that you would then come back and ask for, another variance.
Absolutely, we would come back for any expansion, all of our work is gonna be interior, even if the interior, we're gonna expand, the visitation offices beyond 3, we would come back here.
Is that in the documentation or is that testimony,
That is enough. I believe it's also reflected in the written recommendation of the planning commission to council.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, if there are any comments from members of the public, please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and please try to limit your comments to 3 to 5 minutes.
Hi, Aldo Arcolati, 143 Sheldon Avenue, Pittsburgh, 15220. First of all, I didn't get this lady's name over here who was answering questions regarding whether they've ever had any security incidents at any of their facilities. I don't think she said who she was or identified herself.
Janet Bavaria,
And you are?
News Department.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if this is a zoning or a planning commission situation. It seems to have been reviewed by the planning commission, although I noticed that some of their documents they submitted talked about zoning. So I guess that it's limited just to planning, and the zoning commission is not going to review this. Just it's going to be here this evening before council. So I have a question, some questions here. So I guess these folks that you serve are in some sort of a child custody, child abuse kind of a situation or something like that. They've been removed from their families. And so I have some concerns about that from a safety perspective. I am encouraged to hear that you have a security guard. I'd be interested in finding out whether that security guard is armed. And I would also be interested in knowing whether you have any metal detectors in your office concerning weapons. The people who are being supervised, I guess, are children and their parents. And as I said, I suppose there might be some sort of a child abuse or custody kind of a situation involved here. So that's why I'm concerned about the supervision of these folks. I guess your office staff is doing the supervising. So concerning the metal detectors and the security guard, you also mentioned an alarm system. I would think that's good to have the alarm system kind of a situation or panic button or whatever it would be installed prior to you opening up this facility. It was asked about how rare these kind of security incidents, if I could call them that, might be. I'm getting the idea that you've had some of these in some of your other facilities, and so I think that ought to be taken into consideration. I appreciate the question about if there's an emergency that 911 would be called, so I assume that would be our local Braintree Police, since it's my understanding that this location is in Braintree. I did note, I believe under the zoning code, that something is the part of the approval standard is supposed to be whether the proposed use is detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. And so I do know that this location is close to Aiken School, City Vista Apartments, Aiken Elementary School, I should say, City Vista Apartments, and houses that would be located on McKinney Lane. So I think these things should be taken into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the public regarding this conditional use application at this time? Seeing none, at this time, if any council members would like to make any additional remarks or deliberate on this matter, now is the time. Okay, before we adjourn, I know that the actual vote will take place during the agenda meeting, since we have representatives here from the county. Would we be able to move up the votes on their application for the start, so they don't have to stick around until the middle of the agenda?
I am fine with that if you think that it's okay.
Yes, it is legally okay.
Yeah, you can do that, after the, right, after our citizens commendation before new business.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for coming out.
We're just asking, we do it now, right now, or moving up in the.
Moving up in the agenda. Well, thank you very much for coming out. That will conclude the public hearing on the conditional use application 01-2025. Thank you very much.